Hey guys, and welcome to another video. After several weeks of watching streams and waiting, I finally got my beta key for Valorant, and I wanted to make a short intro for the game, go through the installation procedure, and finally share with you my first impressions on the game. For those of you that didn't apply already for the beta, the procedure is quite simple. Head over to playvalorant.com, create your Riot account if you don't already own one, click on connect with Twitch and start watching any Valorant streams. I left Twitch running in the background for about 20 hours, but Riot recently announced that about 2 hours of watch time should be sufficient for you to qualify for a beta access key, so watching for that long might not be necessary. Also, the drop is not only happening while you're watching the stream. In my case, it came a few days later after watching my last stream. Once you're awarded the beta access, you should get an email looking like this. When you get it, head over to playvalorant.com and download the installer. Click on install, it shouldn't take very long. The game is actually pretty small compared to other recent releases like Call of Duty Warzone. Once the installation is done, you only need to reboot your computer and you're good to go. You can start playing the game. The idea of the game is very close to Counter-Strike, and actually the gameplay is also pretty close to it. Most people would call Valorant a combination of Counter-Strike and Overwatch. Basically, you have two teams of 5 champions each, called the attackers and the defenders. The attackers must plant a bomb, the so-called spike, while the defenders, well, they must defend the bomb sites and defuse the spike if it was planted. The game is split in 2 phases, each team taking both roles at a time, once being the attackers and once the defenders. Each of the 2 phases consists of 12 rounds. One round ends when all of the players in a team are dead or the spike was defused or exploded. The first team that wins 13 rounds wins the game. The champions, called agents in the game, have unique special abilities like dashing, teleporting, throwing grenades, healing, and even reviving dead teammates. Each champion has 4 special abilities. The trade ability is available at the start of each round and you can use it only once. 2 more abilities can be purchased from the shop before starting each round. The ultimate ability can be obtained by killing enemies, winning rounds, or gathering orbs found across the map. There are currently 10 agents available, but only 5 will be unlocked when you start the game. Within the first few games, however, you will be given 2 more unlock tokens that you can use to unlock 2 more agents. Choose them well, as for the remaining agents, you will need to play the game quite a lot to unlock them. Or you can go the easy way by purchasing them with VPs, the Valorant Points. The game currently has 3 maps: Haven, Bind, and Split. You can't really choose the map you will get onto, it's going to be random every time you join a new game. When you first start the game, you will need to choose your agent from the ones you have available. Make your pick quickly, as there can be only one agent of a specific type in your team, so if someone else picks your agent, you will no longer be allowed to pick it. Once you choose your agent, click on lock, and as soon as everybody else locks in their agent, the game can start. At the beginning of each round, you start off with a knife and a pistol. The first 30 seconds of the game is called the buying phase, a time during which you can purchase your equipment. There are 3 things you can purchase. First, you have the guns, ranging from pistols, SMG, assault, shotguns, snipers. Then you have the shields. Here you have 2 options, the small shield offering 25 shielding or the big one offering 50 shielding. And at last you have the purchasable abilities which I mentioned earlier. One interesting feature is that during this time you can also purchase some guns for your teammates. If you're in need of a weapon but you don't have the money for it, simply right click on it, and if there is anybody on your team willing to purchase it for you, they can do it on the left side of the screen. I encourage you to help out teammates, as this in turn will help you win the game. If you purchased a gun by mistake, right click on it and it will sell it back to the same amount that you paid for it. As said before, once the game starts, your objective is to plant the spike if you are an attacker, or defend the plant sites and defuse the spike if you are on the defender side. Of course, you should do it while killing all of your opponents in the process. The more kills and assists you have, the more money you get for purchasing new guns and abilities. Having a good score in the game also gives you more experience that you will need to unlock further champions. Experience can also be gained by completing daily challenges. I was very eager to play Valorant from the moment I first heard Riot was planning on releasing a first-person shooter. Now that I played a few games, I can tell you that I'm still excited about the game as I was before playing it. The game looks good, it runs smoothly, I had no errors so far, I actually really enjoyed it. Riot will most likely bring more agents, maps, and possibly even new game modes in the near future. So there is a lot of potential to keep up the player interest in the game. Riot recently announced that they will pay a bounty of up to $100,000 for whoever finds a way to bypass their anti-cheat system. I think it's a great thing for players knowing that they will take cheating seriously and they won't let it ruin their game. The 128 tick rate servers will also appeal to the highly competitive players. Besides a one-time spike affecting all players in the game, I never had any issues. On the performance part, I got an average above 100 frames per second even though I'm running the game on high settings. I have a pretty good rig myself, but nevertheless the game was actually built to be run even on older machines. I think this is a smart move because it will highly increase the number of people that can play the game. I'm just thinking about the thousands of players with good PCs that are unable to properly run games like Warzone. Just as an example, look at the minimum requirements for the game. Man, you can run this game on an integrated GPU, not even a dedicated one is required. Riot takes gaming seriously and they will do so with Valorant as well. They actually released patch notes even in beta for the beta version 0.47. I'm pretty certain that after the initial hype of the release, the number of players will drop. I feel the game favors the very good players, not noobs like myself, and punishes mistakes hard. It can become frustrating for new players coming from games like Fortnite. Nevertheless, I'm positive that Valorant will become and remain one of the major FPS games in the upcoming years. Now let's quickly look over the settings we have available in the game. First off, under the General tab you can find basic settings like mouse sensitivity, but you also get detailed setting of how your minimap should look like, such as size and zoom level, vision cones and so on. It's actually pretty nice to have so many customization options. All the way at the bottom you get some options for displaying effects for mature content, but you also get the options to show bullet tracer that can help you figure out where your enemies are shooting from. I will skip over controls. In there you get to set your keybinds for movement, equipment. Under communication there might be some options that you need to set in order to allow a better communication with your team, such as pings and maybe some radio communication messages. Crosshair gets its own menu. You get to set the color, outline opacity, thickness, a center dot. The option to customize your crosshair in the way you like it is pretty neat. I'm thinking about games where you can't even change the color of your crosshair. For video options we have 3 separate tabs: General, Graphics, Quality and Stats. The General tab has options like resolutions, display mode and FPS limiter for various situations, like when running on battery, whoever would do that, while the game is in the menu, while the game is in the background, and a general FPS limiter. It's sometimes helpful to limit the FPS to prevent unnecessary overheat of your GPU. Then on the Graphics Quality tab you get to adjust the game looks in order to suit the performance of your PC. It's similar to pretty much any other game, but since the map you're playing on is rather small compared to games like PUBG, Apex or Warzone, the game gets to output a huge number of frames even with high details. If you wish to increase the frames per second, you can reduce the quality of textures, turn down anti-aliasing, anisotropic filtering, remove shadows and any other eye candy features. Nvidia or AMD driver setting could also help out if you're really struggling to get a consistent number of FPS. Check the video I made for optimizing Warzone, it should be pretty much the same if you need more frames per second. On the last tab, the stats, you will find options to activate trackers that can show you the current frames per second, latency, CPU and GPU utilization. This can be helpful if you're monitoring your game or trying to check where your game is underperforming. Under the last menu, audio, besides the standard sound options, you also have the voice chat options. The game offers different voice chat options for your party and for your team, so you get to chat openly with your party while utilizing a push-to-talk option for the rest of the team. These are pretty much all of the important settings in the game. If you have any trouble or any questions, drop a comment down below and I'll get back to you. One last thing I can tell you is that if you haven't started the process for getting an access to the beta, well, you're missing out. I hope you enjoyed this video guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the battlefield. Have fun!